Thank you everyone for coming to the game show. We have three now, digital gladiators ready to play. If you don't know much about this, you're going to find out that we're basically going to have a game show with actual contestants who have been drawn from a hat to be participating in this game show. They've got a task to complete, and I'll get through that in a minute. We have three judges here, celebrity judges. Say hi. And they'll be judging the actual game show entry things in a moment. So let's get started. Okay, so welcome. So my name is Akhil. I'm a CivicTheme business analyst with Salsa Digital, and we have built CivicTheme, which is a design system. Okay, cool. Hang on a second. So CivicTheme is an open source and inclusive component-based design system. It was created so government and other organizations can rapidly assemble modern, consistent, and compliant digital experiences for its audiences. So it's an atomic-based design system. It is open source, so you can grab any parts of it, which is Figma, Storybook, and the actual theme itself. It's compliant to WCAG 2.2. It's just been updated to the latest version, AA. And it's an open source project maintained by Salsa Digital. So basically, the design methodology breaks down the pages as for Atomic. So for those that don't know how the Atomic system works, the design system also comprises of a set of standards that makes the site very consistent. Also is all the components are inclusive and they're actually tested on a feature component basis. And we basically built this for many governments. There's a common pattern to find after having to rebuild the theme and all the buttons and all the components every single project. So we had basically a starter kit, which is the design system, which speeds up the process, and that the project teams and the clients can focus on the digital experience and the UX side of things rather than the actual technical side. It also allows for rapid prototyping, so instead of having to work on visual designs, you can actually work on practical parts of the site by using the out-of-the-box components that are actually already working. And this then means at the end, you have an improved and consistent user experience. So it is fully open source. The components can be adopted as they are, so out of the box. They can also be adapted, so adjusted, or you can fully customize and extend the existing component library to suit your design, look and feel, and functionality that you need. So they can actually fully customize it. There are Figma design files available online, which is the visual library component of the design system. And then there are the HTML coded parts, which are the UI kit in Storybook. And because it's technology agnostic, there's another component, which is a theme, and we've built a Drupal theme at the moment. There are other themes. As Dries demoed yesterday, the Experience Builder demo was actually designed with the CivicTheme design system. Out of the box, it is WCAG accessible and compliant. I've now updated this slide to 2.2. Let me see the other one. And each release is tested for accessibility and reported on, which is publicly available. You can download that. Let me know. I can give you that report. Tested every time it's a release. The tests are done for all the components to ensure that we are meeting the WCAG standards. This was inspired by a government design system, which now no longer exists. We used that as a base, so we already had quite a bit of informed decisions about what was the best components and UI patterns to use, and then we built upon that into the latest technology. It includes kind of UX design and principles. So, as I mentioned earlier, so the Experience Builder demo that was shown yesterday by Dries was based on CivicTheme. That was upgraded to use SDC. Right now, the current design system does not use SDT. This is just the demo that was upgraded and uplifted into that new working way. This is just the Drupal version. So, so we are going to start the games. So, haven't updated this one. So Tim Doyle was unable to make it last minute. He had to go to a board meeting for the Drupal Association, but we have Kelly. Yes. We've got Michael Anello and we have Rachel Lawson. Thank you. Okay, judging criteria. So the judges will be selecting the winner that beats the brief, meets the brief basically. is creatively executed and is user-focused. I'll be giving the brief right now. So I guess contestants, listen for this one. So I'll be providing a quick visual brief of the design system and also what you need to do. And you'll be building this in the Drupal CivicTheme Drupal environment. We'll provide you the environments. There'll also be a couple of kind of mandatory components, which I'll show you what those are and what you need to do. And the next one will be you need to basically do this through the admin UI. There's no coding, there's no kind of development needed to be done. And this is the task here. So we're going to build a home page. We're going to add the description. We're going to add a couple of mandatory components in there. And then you have kind of free reign to work within the body area to be able to add new components. As I mentioned to you guys earlier, but there's also a ChatGPT assistant if you needed to use that to help you through. And if you're stuck, I'm still around. I'm happy to help. It's not a very strict way to do things, but if you need help or you're stuck, I can kind of help you on only the technical side or otherwise. But generally, kind of just have fun. Okay, so I'm just going to quickly show you the design system. So as I mentioned, we've got the design system here. It's actually the Figma design system. And if I can get my mouse to work, I can show you the actual UI kit. So it comes with everything. So in CivicTheme, we have kind of the visual library with all the components already pre-built. You can use this as the basis, and you can extend any one of these components or build upon or customize them completely and create your own. This kind of gives a very high starting point, and it also gives us the basis kind of build out all the standards that are available. What we've done here is created the demo landing page for the game show. And what we have is the header, the main banner there, and for this particular one, it's going to be called the Drupal Starshot Demo Design System. We've got some kind of nav cards there. We've got a blank body area, which is where you guys can kind of work in. And we've got a footer section already kind of pre-built. So what you will have in your environment is that footer and the header, and then you've got a couple of mandatory components to kind of add in. So you've got a title that you'll need to add, a short description, and to make some edits on the nav cards, and then the rest is kind of up to you to use. I will show you what what we have here as an example. Here's one we've actually built with an example of what the middle could look like. So we've got some nav cards here. It's fairly straightforward. We even have a slider. These are all out of the box. We just kind of added some images. Slider all works. And in this case, we have an automated listing here. So this is now just grabbing any news items. We have news. We use taxonomy to tag news items, and anything that's kind of tagged with news then shows up on this listing here. In this case here, we have a manually curated list. So again, using the same style of cards, however, we've actually selected different items in there. So this is all out of the box, just letting you guys have a quick look at it as an example of what it can look like. So these are cards also created manually. And I think we're pretty much ready to go. Just look at the time. Okay, let's count the time for now. I'm going to put the timer on. We've got 20 minutes. I am going to switch the screen at the top for us in a second, but in the meantime, I can kind of keep this demo page open and just scroll up and down if you'd like. But yeah, so what we've got here is CivicTheme. So they've got a design system. They've got access to all the components. I am now going to switch over to the Zoom to show hopefully they're working on it. And it is kind of no-code, low-code design system, so they can just go in. Oh, perfect. You won't need to touch any of the blocks. Everything is done through the page. So if you... Yep, all you need to do is edit the home page. That's how simple it is. Oh, hang on, you know what? I have a... So we go down a bit. Oh, there it is, edit. Just below the nav cards. Go down a bit more. Actually, who's screen are on? Angels. Gotta hear. Gotta see what Jan is doing. No, I'm on your screen. Cool. Yeah, there you go.
Yes, I'm on the other page, but I can't seem to edit this content here.
Yep. So go to banner.
Banner.
Yep. So go into the edit. So where you were further down. Yep.
Okay,
Get edit, and then go into the second tab, which is banner, and then you have all the details in there. And you'll find that it's actually the content. See, you can tell which people didn't do homework. So this is good. Yep. So there's your banner title. look at what contestant number 3 is doing. And there you go. So you can see here, basically, everything's done through the admin UI. Getting instructions there to help him through. Let's have a look. The brief was to create the page for CivicTheme Starshot design system demo site. It's a good point, actually. The idea was to create the mandatory, to add a few fields, titles, descriptions in there, but the rest of it was kind of free form. So it's the Starshot design system to kind of make it appealing and have audience awareness. That's probably. Yes. Yes. Yes.
I read the email, but the brief wasn't in the email. I don't know why either. No, I got it. Yeah, but we can't judge those unless.
Yes. Okay. Let me see if I can. While we're kind of watching the contestants, I might see if I can quickly jump into the chat GPT or CivicTheme GPT. Although it's going to be awkward because I don't have anything signed up. Give me a second. Sign up the chat. Why can't I log in? Nope. I'm going to leave that for now. It's not see if I can log in. Just going to see if I can quickly log in, but I have a feeling this machine may not have its credentials on here. Oh no, this won't have it because there's nothing on that one. Nope. It. Well, okay. It's creating a new account. That's fine. Yeah. Yes. Okay. Come on. Wow, it's a challenge for me too. Oh, everyone's doing a live demo. This is fun. Okay. Oh, wow. Okay. Abort. So once, and if I can get into ChatGPT, yes. Oh, look at that. We're going. Okay. So, oh my God, what is all this? Nope. Okay. So it's not the right URL. Yep. So it's logged me into the general one. I got to find the URL. Give me a second. Still got 15 minutes to go, by the way, contestants. Okay. Got the link here. Hopefully that will now let me in. So what we did is with the ChatGPT, as Dries was talking about all the AI, we've kind of done the early version of that. Yes, it's working now. So what we've created is we've got all the public documentation that's available for CivicTheme, for all the instructions. We've got a custom GPT that's kind of been installed with all this information, so it makes it a bit easier. We've got a lot of people asking questions, you know, how do you load it with this? I'm having problems with that. Well, you can now kind of ask this thing. So we've got some kind of examples here. So how can I override the theme components, right? So we just click on that one. It's quite useful. At the moment, it's very much developer focused. We're looking at trying to create a content author version, so we have more visuals. So that makes it a bit easier. It shows the code here instead of the visual side of things. So this is very much a developer focus. But again, it can kind of answer quite a lot of complex questions. We did do quite a bit of testing and a bit of training on it, so it's actually quite useful at the moment. And it obviously needs a lot of work going forward. And we're happy to have feedback and make it a better process where it learns more things. But this might go for a while. So the GPT is quite useful. It's only quite new and now available to kind of help with setting up, starting, and even using some of the CivicTheme components and the system itself. And we're still going. Might I can't ask any questions, but I might leave that for now. I might jump into the Zoom to see what the contestants are now doing. At least this is working. So you can see here an update in the summary fields. There are images there. There's a tile. You can actually see this one here. I don't know if you can see my mouse. Yes, perfect. There was a nav card. So this particular component is a nav card that we'll see on the front end. Here is just inputting through WYSIWYG, the summary field in this particular case. It's getting some tips from the game show site to do the page. Let's have a look on the other component, contestant. Same deal, hit save. And there we go. You can actually see these components are coming up. So that's you can tell by the type of card that's an event. So you can see the dates are there. It's automatically rendered to show you the start and end dates. You can update those. Next bits. Let's see, next. Look. So as you can see there, the page basically has all the different components in it and does all the configuration. So there's no kind of coding to this. So, got 12 minutes to go. So then we're going to update the mandatory fields in the banner, in the header, and some of the nav cards. And you can see here someone's referencing the Figma files to get the design components and what's available. So the idea between the Figma files and the design system itself is also that you've got the Figma visual designs as a reference. So when you're building, you can see what it's supposed to look like, which is quite handy. You can also kind of edit that and change that so that you can test out the different configurations before you need to build or you wanted to build that page out. So if you're a Figma or a designer, Figma designer, you can actually use the Figma files to reconfigure the components and even build the components on the page itself in Figma. So the Figma file I had earlier, we can fill in those blanks with the different components. So you can kind of resort the page and the page layout to make it look the way you want it to look and then provide that to the developers. Now in the out-of-the-box version, which is pretty much this, they can then build that kind of in parity with what's in Figma because it's all available out of the box. Naturally, when you're working with the Drupal side of things on the developer side, you can then also just jump straight into the developer code and change things there. And if you are using both sides of Figma and Drupal, the Figma is not connected. So you may have to update your Figma files to reflect any changes in the Drupal side and vice versa. But the idea is that you have both of the Figma and the Drupal side kind of an HTML components all working together to be able to manage not just one site, but scale. So if you have multiple sites, then you've got this ability to have this design system managing and controlling kind of the whole site or many sites. Okay, so let's have a look at what they're doing. You can see there's all WYSIWYG. Can you hear beeping? Okay, so again, cards are being added. Images are managed, the media library. We've got 10 minutes left. And I'm just going to jump back to the design. It is also, as you can see, responsive out of the box. Right. So the design system comes as responsive. All the components are tested individually, so everything is responsive as well. You can even change the card look and feel for individual components for the cards, so they can have pictures, no pictures. You can remove the descriptions, and that's all done through what these guys are doing on the other side here. So some of these are mandatory, some are not. You can even change the number of cards, the number of rows, columns. So as we have here. Okay. Let's just jump back to Zoom. How are you guys going? Very quiet. They're busy. Yeah. I did ask him if I could ask questions. They're like, yeah, now. So you can see here they're selecting images. They just go in. The images are managed to the system. to resize for the different responsive layouts and other layouts that we have. We have multiple breakpoints pre-built into the design system. So that's all managed through there. Here, the topics are the taxonomy. There are a couple in there already as a bit of a hint, so I think news should be in there. As I say that, it probably won't work. Let's have a look at another one. Let's see. Oh. Okay. So as you can see here, it's very fast paced, going through, changing, saving. So the latest news on CivicTheme, for we've been building it for and using it in government. Australian government has kind of adopted CivicTheme as kind of the default theme at the moment, the design system, by the DTA, which is the Digital Transformation Agency in Australia, which is the main office for managing strategic and IT direction. So they've kind of they're using CivicTheme for their own websites at the moment as well, and also using it for GovCMS, which is a large platform for websites in Australia, the largest program, and that's also being recommended for GovCMS projects. So we have 400 websites on GovCMS, and some of them will start using CivicTheme pretty soon. So this is just another faster way to be able to do that. Okay, these guys are using the WYSIWYG, styling it out, which is pretty good. Don't know about these guys, probably 20 minutes is going pretty fast for them. For me, it's taking ages. Got another 6 minutes left. It's looking good, and we'll see what they look like in a moment. Someone's getting creative with the bar. I have been, yeah. I've actually been switching between two. Because Mohit is not sharing. He was, I think it dropped out. Do you mind sharing? There you go. Look at that. Trade secrets. Okay, so let's see what's happening over here. That's okay. So yeah, you can see that was just Mohit adding it. You can see the components being added here, which is pretty good. So we just added an extra card. You can choose from any one of the list in the card there. In this case, it's just putting reference ones in. You can change light and dark theme. Now in the light and dark theme, it's not like accessibility where you have light and dark. This is more for the page kind of flow. As you can see, there's kind of banding for the different components. So having everything white, you can have kind of bands to kind of have distinct component separation. So I think there was one there, you can see a big blue band. So that's what the light and dark is, to help you give kind of texture or kind of differentiation across the page. So we kind of built that in as well. You can see the content columns. You can adjust those from 1 to, I think 4 is a max across this particular width of the page. That's a very large picture there. Yay, that's good. Have a look at the next one. Trying to see what they're doing. So in appearance, so even the appearance can be managed through the component itself. In this particular case, you can change vertical spacing, columns as I mentioned. You can even pick different cards, so the actual display can render different cards with a promo card or a few other components. Again, that's all managed through the admin UI rather than having to develop or code or change things. I feel like there should be dramatic music playing in the background right now.
Time check?
Time check is 4 minutes. 4 minutes. Getting close. Okay. So judges, you've got an interesting job here. feverishly finishing off the different touches and end. So I might, we've got another 3.5 minutes left. Once the judges are, when the judges are actually having a look at these, I'll have a quick interview of the contestants and see how they went. Okay. There's another one working with the appearance of the component. We've got adjustment sizes there for top, bottom and both. Just depends on how much space you need or like. Hear feedback. Okay, events, so the event cards are kind of out of the box as well. I'll look at Mohit again. So adding media from the media library. 2.5 minutes left. Okay. Have a look. So as these guys kind of finishing up, I will jump back to the pre-made one as these guys do that wrap up. So as you can see here, we've got the website, the demo website. This is all out of the box. We've got kind of out of the box menu system. The menu system has kind of built-in mega menus and drop-down menus. You can select the type in the back end. Today we're not going to be, these guys don't have to do that, but it can be managed. The menu system's all using Drupal menu system there, so it's fairly straightforward and it can build it out and it can adjust it. The cards here are all removable. So most of the components here can be removed, adjusted, or even switched to move it up and down. Over here we've got, a slider here. That can be added to as many slides as you want. Obviously, the recommendation is about 3 or 4. It does not have an auto timer thing on it because that's just not good UX. With the latest news, you can see here there's a tag that says news. We use the taxonomy. You can customize the taxonomy on the fly and add any tag or taxonomy you'd like. Although it says latest news, this automated listing can be done used for any taxonomy term. So any kind of collection of information you'd like to show here, you can do that. You can switch off the component here which has the showing of, the number of. You can have more here. You can also have a show more to have a latest news and then have all news and kind of link off to that. So that's pretty flexible there. And the dates, again, the same thing can be done with this events in this particular case. So in this particular listing, this has been tagged with events. The footer, all these components at the bottom here are just blocks. So you can turn off and adjust the different social, the components at the bottom, the menu here. In this case, we use the acknowledgement of country, which we have quite heavy in Australia. So that's in there as well. That can be removed. So contestants, we have about 15 seconds left. I will count down to the last 5 seconds. We've got 10 seconds. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Pencils down. Hey. Okay. Thank you, contestants. If you guys can just jump up here for a second, we'll get the judges to come around and have a look. If you can just have your screens open. If it's okay. Yes. You can just leave them on the desk there. Yeah. You can turn them around if you like, or just leave them as they are. That's fine. You guys can just come up here for a second. A few seconds. Yes, I can. So yeah, if you can jump off, that'd be great. We'll start at this end. Yeah. Angel, can you jump up here for a second? Yeah, the contestants come over, if it's okay. Yep.
Oh, wow.
I'll get you guys to come just in front of me over here. It'd be great. So while these guys are judging, well done. I might just ask you guys a couple of questions.
To sell something, I'd be looking, in terms of content, I'd be looking for, are you creating a need? Are you saying how the need can be met? And how the person who's reading would be associated with that need? And that thing. That's kind of what I'd be looking for.
Rohit, do you want to just come over a sec? So we'll let these guys kind of confer and figure out what they're doing. So I might ask some questions. So what do you guys think of CivicTheme? I don't know if there's a camera somewhere, but yeah, what did you guys think of the experience? Chaotic?
Stressful.
Yeah.
Always similar to,
Yeah.
pretty much, yeah, it was chaotic, similar to what we have for any other game show.
What do you think of CivicTheme?
Yeah, overall editorial experience was nice. I was able to get almost all the component that I thought of.
A call to action, which is good.
How much time did you take in learning the system, right?
Oh, who's this? They've got the keyboard the wrong way around.
Not much, I mean, took me a while to get through the style guide that we have, design system, and that's pretty much it.
With your mouse pad that way around, I don't know.
Anything from you, Angel?
Yeah, I was trying to find the full list of components. I knew that there was a limited list, but still, the UX of it made me think that, oh, I'm maybe not looking at the right thing. That was just my UX brain trying to figure out what's going on.
Okay.
Trying to find the way to configure the things as I wanted it to be. And for context, I'm a designer, so I was trying to find as many options as possible at all times. So having limited ways of adding stuff kind of made my life. It forced me to simplify things, which was a little bit stressful, of course. Yeah.
Yeah. So I kind of.
Yeah, so I really like the user experience and being able to edit things and have a look at it. The limited time definitely meant that I was rushing to just, rather than understand the user experience, I was just making random changes and then seeing what they looked like and then undoing them again and then... I'm a developer, not a designer, so 20 minutes is not a long time. But yeah, it's good. I really like the being able to just scroll through all the components in the storybook and being able to see like, okay, so that's what I'm working with, and these are the bits I can use.
So probably one thing you guys didn't see is if you go to the content, the admin UI where it's got the content pages, there's actually a bunch of kind of kitchen sink items. So when you do have time, you can go in there and it's got all the examples kind of pre-built, and we use that as testing. So it has automated testing in there, but we keep them in there as an example. So you can actually go into the content section and see all the different variations of every one of the components in there. So that's just part of there. We didn't see that today, but it's in there at the moment. So to you, the designer point, you can see that. Or otherwise, you can have time. Then you can also look at the storybook components and kind of test that out. So it's great. You may ask a question, yes. Yeah. Okay, sure. Sure. Yes. I said we haven't got it as an automated one with a timer. We haven't built it on our out-of-the-box version. You can add a timer. Yes, it's a very controversial question, but adding timers to it is not necessarily the best way to do it.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like that in something like this where it's templates where you have options, I feel that depends on what you want to get from that.
Yes.
I just found it false.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. So as I came in a bit late, so this is the starter kit. So out of the box, it's all the basics. And so the ability is there to add and extend things. We've actually got a newer version of the slider, but we've been working with whether it should have a timer or not. I won't go into all the UX things about it, but it can be extended. So all of the components are designed as a starter point, and then they can be extended. So whether you're adding timers, changing the buttons, changing the way it orders, and all those types of things, all doable. Yeah, so I'm going to quickly come over to the judges. Now it's pressure for the judges.
What was the brief? Star shot focus.
Awareness.
Audience awareness.
Yep. But also, yeah, there are some mandatory parts there, which is the one above. I think it's that one there. Okay, so how are you guys going? We've only got a couple of minutes left.
Me numbering.
Okay,
Yeah. 'cause otherwise it
that's right. Okay, pressure's on for the judges. You guys have got to...
okay. In that case. You stick a load of these. You stick a load of these.
I found it
Then
really difficult not to complete.
Michael, is it who's going to be doing the answer? Shall I give it to you?
Events, great.
Who's going to...
Maybe I should do something else.
no, I was giving them points.
But it took me so long to put like joke content in. Like I went to know like
Oh, wow.
events names.
This
and
is a
things,
very,
so I did that, and I was like, I haven't got time for
Who
anything
gets
else
the
now.
most points?
Sophisticated judging system here. I was hoping for just an ordering, but there's like points. Okay, that wasn't on here. See, now the judges are crumbling under the pressure. Sorry. Yeah. Yeah.
Angel, I've got a question for you, for everyone. So Angel is a designer, right? So not used to the Drupal admin. I would love to know, because I think so many of these things, there's an assumption that people just know Drupal admin, which is pretty, as a base, awful for people that are not Drupal developers. How did you find being dumped into, although a nicer user experience of Drupal admin, it's still Drupal admin?
I mean, there were some mental models that were not equal to what I was. So some of the things I was seeing were not responding to my mental models of an admin UI for other type of CMSs. I had used Drupal in the past, but it's always been more from a content editing perspective, not like content design perspective. So at the beginning, I was thinking, for instance, that I was adding content to the page, and it was actually the description of the page that I think it's only content that the admin user sees, not the end user. So I spent a lot of time refreshing and thinking, why is it not updating the page? But also trying to see how the components would refer to each other. That kind of nesting was also a little bit confusing from a design perspective. But yeah, I don't know. Have you guys, your experience?
I've done Drupal for 15 years. I'm used to it.
Yeah, I mean,
Stockholm syndrome.
yeah. I started with Drupal as well, like my design profession actually, but it's been 12 years, so it has changed a lot. Yeah.
So I was going to. So I think you came in a bit late. There's a Figma visual design library, and then there's also a HTML-based storybook, and then we have a Drupal theme. So it's actually technology agnostic. So in this case, we have a Drupal theme, but otherwise it can be another front-end themes and rendering. So the Figma is probably more familiar with the designers, but the HTML components have an equal parity of all the 60 components that are available. So that's where the idea is that the storybook is that bridge between Drupal or a technical development side, that you can actually see the components, but also test out what those different changes are and the machinations between all of that. Okay, judges, we have got like a minute. Oh, okay, there we go. I'm going to give you
So we argued about this quite a lot, mainly through confusion. But it was very close. And in the time that you had, wow, actually, that was pretty cool. Yeah, I think it's really a lot of work to do in things. There was a few things we were looking for, and we very much liked, we felt 2 and 3 were very close together. So we had this one and this one very close together. So we had second and third, I'm afraid. But then we had Jan in first. Can we bring Jan's up on the screen? Yeah. So, and we actually all agreed, and the same results in the end, once we worked out which was left and which was right. Some of the really things we liked is that it was really clear at the start to say what it is that we're actually looking at. Yeah, and we had some changed graphics, which made us think about what it is a design system, using that type of graphic to show that, because it's actually showing an action of someone doing something. Then as we moved down, we had something around, well, what should you do? What's your next step to learn more? And we had some upcoming events. Now, having built things like upcoming events, often this does take a long while to do. So being able to do that very quickly in 20 minutes is actually quite cool. I do like that. Yeah. Moving further down, again, we are here trying to associate the work, the product, with the person reading, which is a really great thing to do. So government, business, individuals. Oh, I'm an individual. maybe this is for me. Yeah, so it's a really great thing to see. And it was obviously using some of the components that exist. And yet again, a final call to action at the bottom of the page. So thank you. That's really cool. And I feel terribly awkward because I actually know Jan.
Excellent. Thank you very much, contestants. Thank you, judges, and well done, Jan, for that. I think that's a wrap. Excellent. Thank you very much, everyone. We're a bit over time, but that was the Civic Theme Game Show.